glasses like I do, then the 3D glasses have to go on top of your own glasses. And, you know, people are annoyed at having to do that. I mean, I own a 3D set. I don't particularly mind putting the, you know, one set of glasses on top of the other, but you know, then on the other hand, I've also had a root canal without Novocaine, so I'm not the, I, I'm not the best person to, you know, talk about inconvenience and pain. So, um, but what they decided to do at Samsung is they said, okay, instead of making people having to put the 3D glasses on top of their prescription glasses, we're going to produce glasses that you can go to your optometrist, get a prescription, and you'll have 3D glasses that, you know, you can't wear in the street, but that you'll be able to use with your 3D television. Well, here's where I think they're barking down the wrong tree. First of all, active shutter 3D glasses are expensive to begin with. Without having to go to an optometrist and add a prescription on top of that. Now, the only benefit of going to an optometrist is that they will be able to give you a test to see if you have the ability to see 3D, and there are people in this country who don't. So I guess there's some benefit there. But if you add the cost of the glasses plus a couple of $100 for the exam, et cetera, now you're getting up into the stratosphere as to what you have to do in order to, you know, to appreciate 3D television. So I think they could have taken their resources here and placed them in another direction. While I'm talking about 3D TV, there's the material for 3D, the content basically comes from two places right now. One are the Blu-ray discs that are available in 3D, and the second that there are you know, a number of 3D television channels. Now, there are two different formats. The Blu-ray format is a full HD 3D format, and the 3D television automatically recognizes that it's 3D and shifts into 3D mode. Now, if your supplier, entertainment supplier is Comcast like mine, or if it's a satellite like DirecTV, you get a box. Now, in order for the manufacturers didn't want to have to replace that box in order to send the 3D material through it, so they basically squeezed it into the bandwidth that they had available through the box. Now, because they did that, they had to use a different format than is used from the Blu-ray player. And in many cases, if not most cases, you then manually have to go to your television set and say, okay, top bottom is coming, or side by side is coming. And so the simple process of shifting channels from a 2D channel to a 3D channel is a royal pain. And eventually that's going to be resolved, and it'll be resolved either through middleware or through changes in the set-top box itself, and there's a lot of people working on that right now. And this is not just sort of limited to problems that the silver generation has. Everybody who is trying to watch you know, the 24-hour ESPN 3D channel, which has just been announced, is going to have to go through this whole process if they receive the signal through cable or satellite. One just sort of last quick word about 3D. The companies like ESPN are doing a really, really good job of 3D. And what they're doing is a little bit different than what you would see, for example, in the movies. And you go to the movies, and the 3D you get has a lot of stuff jumping out at you. There's a lot of kind of in-your-face impact. What the TV channels I've seen, and like ESPN are doing, is they're doing what is essentially screen back. So instead of stuff coming at you, they're creating depth by using the screen as the plane and creating an almost diorama behind it. And there isn't a lot of stuff jumping out at you. If you watch basketball on ESPN, the only thing that really is out a little bit is a scoreboard, maybe some notes on the bottom are coming out, but the rest is screen in, and it does a wonderful job of giving you depth. You don't feel like you're in some sort of cartoon where things are jumping out at you all the time. And in many ways, what they're doing in television from a production standpoint is the future of what I think we'll be getting in 3D, and it's actually very good. Okay, let's go on. Two products here that use cell phone technology and GPS technology. This is a LifeTrack. I'm going to show after this, this is a mobile, a portable unit that can be worn. After this, I'm going to show a unit for the home. They have motion detection. They have one button call for help. And some of these products also have something that's interesting, but possibly a bit disturbing. You can create, because just like your GPS, you can create, or someone can create an area, a prescribed area that you want a person to stay in. So that if you've got a relative, let's say, who has Alzheimer's, you might be afraid that unknowingly they're going to wander off on their own or get into a bus or something and get lost. So they have devices like this and others. I saw one that's essentially looks like a wristwatch that you say, okay, here's the area I want them to stay in. If they go out of that area, the GPS determines they're out of the area. The cell phone function sends a text message to your phone. It says they've wandered out of the area, and you can actually call up and find where they are. So you can send someone to go and help them. I think these are great ideas. The only concern I have with this and the next one, which is, again, a motion detector, touch screen. This is meant not to be portable, but to be in the room or the house that the person is in. My only concern with these type of products is that they're not viewed as low-cost substitutes for care. That people don't reach the point where they really do need assisted living. But assisted living is so expensive that people may take a look and say, well, instead of doing that, let's just buy this little piece of technology and we'll be able to keep track of where our loved ones are. That's my only concern. I think these kinds of things are great. If you look at the statistics, I saw somewhere 35% of all people 65 and over are going to have at least one fall in the next year. Falling is among the leading causes of injury in seniors. And it's nice that you have a motion detector so that if somebody falls and they're helpless, it will determine that they've fallen. It will send a message to a relative or a caregiver of some kind. I think that's great. And it's going to get better, by the way, because if you look at what's going on in sensors, for example, it isn't going to be all that long time before your carpet, let's say, will have an impact or pressure sensor in it and a temperature sensor, so that if a body hits the floor, it's going to, one, know that something has impacted it, and number two, because of the temperature, it's going to know it's a human and not a lamp. So that, pretty soon, and again, I think 5 years, something along those lines, we're going to have stuff built into everyday materials in our houses, which is going to do the same kind of things as these units are doing right now. So again, it's all heading in the right direction. I think these kind of things are really good as long as the proviso is you don't try to make it a substitute for the care that's really needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Maury. All right, our next speaker is Kaye, principal of Compelling Telling. I think actually we are in it for a surprise here because actually Gary brought actual products to show you that, what the beauty of this thing is and what the problem is. All right, Gary, take it away.
Good morning. Thanks very much for being here and not next door where they're doing Last Gadget Standing, because I guess we could call this Last Gadget Sitting for this market. What makes this generation really interesting as it heads into the silver years, the golden years, whatever you want to call them, is that this is the first generation that's computer literate. It's the first generation that's tech savvy. And my big argument is that I don't necessarily need devices that are made for me getting old, because I'm still really interested in the hot stuff, right? I just want to be able to see it. I just want to be able to hear it. So, you know, don't worry about giving me